come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Baisley, Bridges, Buckner, Senator Buckner. Thank you. Coleman, Cutter,
Excused.
Danielson, Exum, Fields, Gardner,
These are the ones I got on consent.
Senator Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Henriksen, Huckes Lewis,
These are the ones I have on consent.
Senator Huckes Lewis,
Gardner, this was consent. He wants to pull it off. Let's see if you can. But you're good with all the consents on Monday.
Today on specials, but no seconds.
Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Liston,
Excused.
Lundin, Marchman, Michelson Janae, Malika, Senator Malika. Pelton B, Pelton R, Priola, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Smallwood, Senator Smallwood, Sullivan, Van Winkle, Will, Winter, Senator Winter,
Excused.
Zenzinger, Mr. President,
Here. Morning roll call is 32 present, 0 absent, 3 excused. We do have a quorum. Senator Roberts, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's Friday. Let's get the end of the week and get ready for the weekend off right with a yes vote. I move the Senate Journal of April 11th, 2024 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Not a single no vote. Senate Services.
April 12, 2024, correctly engrossed Senate Joint Resolutions 18 and 19, correctly re-engrossed Senate Bills 106 and 187, correctly revised House Bills 1154 and 1323.
Committee reports.
April 11, 2024, Committee on Legal Services, after consideration of the merits of committee records following, House Bill 1227 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, with recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar. April 11, 2024, Committee on Finance, after consideration of the merits of committee records following, Senate Bill 198 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1319 be referred favorably to the committee with House Bill 1319 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. April 11, 2024, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration on the merits of committee recommends the following. House Bill 1156 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, with recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1121 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. April 11, 2024, Committee on Local Government and Housing, after consideration on the merits of committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 194 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1094 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1172 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar. April 11, 2024, Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1348 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1174 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. April 11, 2024, Committee on Health and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1252 be amended as follows, as amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 54 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1171 be postponed indefinitely. House Bill 1229 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1170 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 124 be amended as follows, and is so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation.
Message from the House.
April 11, 2024, Mr. President, the House has passed on third reading and returns herewith Senate Bill 172, Senate Bill 177, Senate Bill 26, and Senate Bill 161. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the Revisor of Statutes, House Bill 1253. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted to the Revisor of Statutes, House Bills 1276, 1124, 1220, and 1105, amended as printed in the House Journal, April 10, 2024.
Message from the Revisor.
April 11, 2024, we herewith transmit without comment House Bill 1253 without comment as amended, House Bills 1105, 1124, 1220, and 1276.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to proceed out of order to take up a moment of personal privilege.
The motion is for the Senate to proceed out of order for moments of personal privilege. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the Senate will now proceed out of order.
I'm sorry? I don't know where they went, Mr. President.
That's right. Senator Malika.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Michelson and we wanted to come up because our community has a large Sikh population, and we wanted to welcome the Sikh community of Colorado to the Capitol. Tomorrow, Saturday, April 13th, is a Sikh holiday of Vaisakhi, and marks the day to celebrate when Sikhism was born as a collective faith. This morning, we began the Sikh prayer known as Ardas.
Members, let's keep it down and pay our respects to the members in the well. Please proceed, Senator Malika.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sikhs originate from the Punjab region of northern India and represent the fifth largest religion in the world. Currently, there are more than 30 million Sikhs around the world who celebrate Vaisakhi every year, and the Sikh community of Colorado is proud to help bring this wonderful cultural celebration to the people's capital. They hope this event will be a great educational opportunity for the Colorado community to better understand their culture, religion, and people.
Senator Michelson-Janae.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Today at 11 o'clock, the Sikh community arranged for lunch for all the members of staff and public in the Capitol. This is traditionally known as langar, known as a community kitchen open to all, no matter what their faith, gender, age, or status is, and it is offered by every single Gurdwara temple in the world, and it is delicious. Also want to highlight that Governor Polis will be signing a proclamation later today to recognize April as Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month at 10:15 a.m. on the first floor, and I want to welcome the Sikh committee sitting up in the gallery. So let us all say hello.
Members, next to Massage Therapist Day, this is my favorite day of the year because the lunch is absolutely delicious and it's so fun to visit with all the visitors from the Sikh community. So I do encourage everyone to go down there this afternoon. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'd like you to help me and to welcome students from Leadville High School from the far northwest corner of my district. They got up extremely early this morning to come join us here and to experience the legislative process. If y'all wouldn't mind welcoming the high school students of Leadville. Thank you, Mr. President.
You can do it now.
Senator Fields.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Members, we're here to celebrate maternal health. This is a week that's been celebrated around the country as it relates to moms and babies. And so I'm going to read this tribute to you, and it's going to be shared with my colleagues. I'll read the first half, and you can close it out. We commend two organizations that's doing this work as it relates to midwives and birthing coaches. We commend Souls to Soul Sisters, Elephant Circles, along with other participating organizations for their leadership in addressing structural racism, gender oppression, and social determinants of health inequities experienced by Black moms in Colorado. Their efforts have significantly improved access to the full spectrum of maternal, sexual, and reproductive health care for all women.
Recognizing, Mr.
Senator
President,
Senator Buckner.
may I have a moment of personal privilege, please?
Of course.
Recognizing the week of April 11th through April 17th, 2024 as Black Maternal Health Week, we are highlighting the urgent need to address disparities in Black maternal health outcomes. Statistics starkly support these disparities, underscoring the critical need to prioritize and enhance Black maternal health care for safe, equitable birthing experiences. Let's continue to uphold policies rooted in racial, reproductive, and birth justice, as well as human rights to address Black maternal health disparities. It is imperative that Black women and birthing people actively participate in the policy decisions that affect their lives. On the request of Senators Janet Buckner and Rhonda Fields, given this 12th day of April 2024, State Capital, Denver, Colorado, Steve Fenberg, President of the Senate.
Senator Fields. Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I want to acknowledge the women who are doing this work. And so would the women of Soul to Soul Sisters and Elephant Circle please stand? We would like to recognize you for all the work that you do for moms and babies. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1105 by Representative Hernandez and Senator Gonzalez concerning the creation of a special license plate to support the Chicano community and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Finance.
House Bill 1124 by Representatives Soper and Mabry and Senators Will and Gonzalez concerning discrimination in places of public accommodation.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1175 by Representatives Basenecker and Sirota and Senators Winter and Huckes Lewis concerning a local government right of first refusal or offer to purchase qualifying multifamily property for the purpose of providing long-term affordable housing or mixed income development.
Local government housing.
House Bill 1253 by Representatives English and Holtorf and Senator Janal concerning the continuation of the regulation of respiratory therapy and in connection therewith implementing the recommendations in the 2023 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Finance.
House Bill 1276 by Representatives Young and Bradfield and Senators Zenzinger and Lundin concerning the continuation of the Colorado Commission for the Deaf, Hard of Hearing, and Deafblind, and in connection therewith, implementing the recommendations contained in the 2023 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies and making an appropriation.
Finance.
House Bill 1337 by Representatives Joda and Bacon and Senator Coleman concerning the rights of a unit owner in a common interest community in relation to the collection of amounts owed by the unit owner to the common interest community.
Local government housing.
Two-thirds. Then we'll take a Senate. Oh. Thirds are ready. Yeah. Then we'll do a senatorial 5 so we can do it. Okay.
Third reading of bills. Final passage. Will the clerk please read the title of House Bill 1323?
House Bill 1323 by Representatives Velasco and Hernandez and Senator Fields concerning the manner of dress during school graduation ceremonies.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1323 on third reading, and I do request to offer an amendment, a third reading amendment.
Senator Fields. Would you please explain the need for a third reading amendment?
I'd be happy to. I was approached by Higher Ed to offer this amendment, which just ensures that we comply with any of the public institutions' requirements as it relates to their dress code policy.
The question before the body is Senator Fields' request for permission to offer a third reading amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and permission is granted. There's an amendment at the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment 6?
I didn't hear what he said. Did he say anything? I didn't hear. I didn't hear what you said.
L06, amend revised bill, page 7, line 10, after ceremony, add if a public institution of
Senator
higher
Fields.
education.
I didn't hear.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill, I move the amendment 1323. 006.
Is there any discussion on L006?
Can't hear.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the amendment sponsor, can you help us understand why this is necessary? I'm just unfamiliar with the policy and what this third reading amendment seeks to do. Thank you.
Senator Fields.
Thank you, Senator, for that question, and Mr. President. Basically, this is to ensure that when a graduate that's graduating, they can wear their cultural adornment, and it has to comply with the overall public institution's requirement as it relates to dress code. It still mandates that the student can wear their adornment, but it also has to make sure that it includes whatever public institution dress code policy, it has to comply with that. But it doesn't negate the ability for a graduate to wear their adornment that they want to wear, their attendee cloth or their religious adornment. They still get to celebrate their ethnicity and their culture when they're graduating. And that can be at a preschool level, that could be at a high school level, that could be at college, that could be getting your PhD. But with the passing of this bill, which has already passed the House, and once we pass it in the Senate, that means that any graduate in the state of Colorado has the opportunity to express their cultural heritage when they're graduating from an institution of higher ed. And I ask for an aye vote on this bill and the amendment. Thank you.
The motion before the body is the adoption of L006. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 3 excused, L006 is adopted. To the bill. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1323? Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I just want to rise in support of this bill. on third reading and final discussion because this incident arose for a young high school graduate out of the Roaring Fork Valley, in which it was supposed to be the proudest day of her life. She was graduating high school. She was so proud, and she wanted to wear a graduation stole that was both the American flag on one side and the Mexican flag on another. And she was, by her local school district, denied that opportunity to show her pride. And this bill corrects that and clarifies that we welcome and we are so proud of the students to be able to celebrate and acknowledge their culture, their heritage, their community. And so I want to thank the sponsors for bringing this bill forward. It is, I think, a point of pride and unity that the sponsors reflect both representation from the Black and Latino caucuses, and I ask for an aye vote.
The motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1323. Are there any no votes? Senators Pelton B., Van Winkle, Will, Baisley, Rich, Gardner, Minority Leader Lundin, Smallwood, Kirkmeyer, Pelton R., Simpson. With a vote of 21 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, House Bill 1323 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Bridges, Roberts, Mullica, Hanson, Coleman, Gonzalez, Exum, Janal, Danielson, Marchman, Kolker, Henriksen, Jaquez Lewis, Priola, Michelson Janae, Buckner. Please add the president. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1154?
House Bill 1154 by Representatives Weinberg and McLaughlin and Senators Bridges and Lundin concerning school district boards of education voluntary inclusion of institute charter schools in district ballot initiatives to contract with institute charter schools for bonded indebtedness.
Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1154 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? See none. The motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1154. Are there any no votes? Senators Sullivan, Marchman, Henriksen. With a vote of, please add Senator Gonzalez as a no vote. And Senator Danielson. With a vote of 27 ayes, 5 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, House Bill 1323 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Pelton B., Gardner, Pelton R., Van Winkle, you know what? Some of us have a board, and the board was wrong. That's the problem. I think. Members, since no one notified me that I said the wrong bill, I'm being sarcastic. You all notified me. We do need to take the vote for House Bill 1154 over again because the computer was lagging and still on the previous bill. So, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1154. Are there any no votes? Senators Danielson, Marchman, Hendrickson, Sullivan, Jaquez Lewis, Gonzalez. With a vote of 26 ayes, 6 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, House Bill 1154 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Gardner, Coleman, Kirkmeyer, Rich, Smallwood, Pelton B, Pelton R, Simpson, Baisley, Will, Van Winkle, Priola, Michelson Janae, Buckner, Zenzinger, committee reports.
April 12, 2024, Committee on Appropriations. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1002 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1136 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1234 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1258 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1272 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. House Bill 1275 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 123 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 171 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 173 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 179 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 182 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 183 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. Senate Bill 184 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 185 be amended as follows, and is so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation.
Conference committees to report.
To the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, your first conference committee appointed on House Bill 1430 concerning the provision for payment of the expenses of the executive, legislative, and judicial departments of the state of Colorado and of its agencies and institutions for and during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, except as otherwise noted, has met and reports that it has agreed upon the following. One, that the Senate received from its amendments made to the bill as the amendments appear in the re-revised bill, and that the following amendments be substituted therefore. Signed, Shannon Bird, Emily Sirota, Rick Taggart, Rachel P. Zenziger, Jeff Bridges, Barbara Kirkmeyer. This is an introduction.
Mr. Majority Leader.
And a vote is taken, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend Senate Rule 26B for the purpose of consideration conference committee reports.
Members, this does take a 2/3 vote. You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Rule 26B will be suspended for the purpose of the consideration of conference committee reports. Consideration of conference committee reports. Will the clerk please read the title of House Bill 1430?
House Bill 1430 by Representative Byrd and Senator Zenziger concerning the provision for payment of the expenses of the executive, legislative, and judicial departments of the state of Colorado and of its agencies and institutions for and during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, except as otherwise noted.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adopt the first report of the first conference committee on House Bill 1430.
Is there any discussion or explanation of what you budget wizards did in said conference committee? Seeing none.
Seeing none.
Oh, Senator Zenzinger wants to talk about the budget. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, members, we started with the House version, stripped it down to its original, and then made the following changes. We, I swear we did.
This is PG, please.
We added $8.8 million general fund for the affordable housing construction grants loans in the Department of Local Affairs. We added $2 million general fund for the school security disbursement grant program in the Department of Public Safety, as well as a footnote outlining the intended uses of those funds. We added $2 million general fund for crime victim services in the Department of Public Safety. We added $2 million general fund for the state funding for senior services in the Department of Human Services. We added $1.5 million general fund to the Tony Gramsci Youth Services Program in the Department of Human Services. We added $350,000 for immigration legal defense in the Department of Labor and Employment. We added $229,335 general fund to support the Gamete Bank and Fertility Clinic Program. We retained amendments that were passed by both chambers to add just over $100,000 general fund for continuing medical education for primary care providers through the University of Colorado. We added $100,000 for the Colorado Access to Justice Cash Fund and program in the Judicial Department. We included a small adjustment in funding related to maternal care providers in a total of $6,000 general fund. We adjusted funding for several decision items within the Department of Public Safety, resulting in a net reduction of $958,171 general fund below the introduced bill. In addition, the committee added $500,000 from the marijuana tax cash fund for the Colorado State University to support the agribility program, and a one-time appropriation of $800,000 from the same source for the cannabis business office in the Office of Economic Development. Finally, the committee adopted a number of technical corrections to the bill. The Joint Budget Committee then reduced the shared housing priorities placeholder to align with better information and to ensure that the budget package remained in balance.
It's Gamete.
Gamete?
Gimme? Gim?
Is there any discussion?
What is that, though? Really?
Did you ask for permission?
Seeing none, The motion is for the adoption of the first report of the first conference committee on House Bill 1430. Are there any no votes? Senators Van Winkle, Baisley. With a vote of 30 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, the first report of the first conference committee on House Bill 1430 is adopted. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1430.
Is there any discussion? Senator Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good bill, vote yes.
The motion is for the repassage of House Bill 1430. Are there any no votes? Senators Van Winkle, Will, Baisley, Rich, Gardner, Minority Leader Lundin, Smallwood, Pelton B, Pelton R.
That ascot is very representative for you today, Senator.
With a vote of 23 ayes, 9 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, House Bill 1430 is passed. Co-sponsors. Members, I think whether you voted for the bill or not, you know that these 3 senators have been working incredibly hard. And it hasn't just been this session, but it predates well before we all convened. Let's give them a round of applause, especially Senator Zenzinger for passing her final budget for the state of Colorado. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate take up on special orders consent calendar House Bill 1305, House Bill 1285, House Bill 1254, House Bill 1354, House Bill 1002, House Bill 1234, House Bill 1272, House Bill 1275, Senate Bill 179, and Senate Bill 183 at the hour of 9:50.
The motion is that the Senate take up House Bills 1305, 1285, 1254, 1354, 1002, 1234, 1272, 1275, Senate Bill 179, and Senate Bill 183 on special orders consent at the hour of 9:50 a.m. This does require a 2/3 vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will take up those bills previously mentioned and listed on the special orders consent calendar that's been distributed. And as we wait for the computer to catch up and load all of those bills, the Senate will stand in a brief recess. Special orders. Second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the special order, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Marchman will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all the bills on the special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1305 by Representatives Linsett and Lukens and Senators Baisley and Michelson-Janay concerning changes to programs to benefit students who earn post-secondary course credit while enrolled in high school. House Bill 1285 by Representative Hamrick and Senators Marchman and Gardner concerning preventing bullying in public schools based on student physical appearance. House Bill 1254 by Representatives Hamrick and Bradley and Senators Smallwood and Roberts concerning the continuation of the regulation of non-transplant tissue banks and in connection therewith implementing recommendations contained in the 2023 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies. House Bill 1354 by Representatives Herod and Duran and Senator Janal concerning requiring pet care facilities to provide notification of an infectious disease outbreak. House Bill 1002 by Representatives Sirota and Martinez and Senators Marchman and Rich concerning the enactment of the Social Work Licensure Compact and in connection therewith making an appropriation. House Bill 1234 by Representatives Morrow and Catlin and Senators Roberts and Hansen concerning the continuation of high-cost support mechanism funding for rural telecommunications providers and in connection therewith implementing the recommendations in the 2023 Sunset Report by the Department of Regulatory Agencies. House Bill 1272 by Representatives Velasco and Soper and Senator Exum concerning the continuation of the Colorado Fire Commission in accordance with the recommendations in the Department of Regulatory Agencies 2023 Sunset Report and in connection therewith making an appropriation. House Bill 1275 by Representatives Catlin and Morrow and Senator Simpson concerning the continuation of the underfunded Courthouse Facility Cash Fund Commission and in connection therewith implementing the recommendation in the Department of Regulatory Agencies 2023 Sunset Report. Senate Bill 179 by Senators Simpson and Hendrickson and Representatives Catlin and Story concerning the establishment of a floodplain management system for development. Senate Bill 183 by Senator Simpson and Hawkes Lewis and Senator Simpson and Hawkes Lewis concerning the distraint sale of a mobile home to collect delinquent property taxes and in connection therewith temporarily suspending the distraint sale of mobile homes and creating a task force on mobile home ownership and taxation.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move all the bills and the associated committee report on special order second reading of bills consent calendar, which include House Bill 1305, House Bill 1285, House Bill 1254, House Bill 1354 in the Ag and Natural Resources report, House Bill 1002 in the Appropriations report, House Bill 1234 in the Appropriations report, House Bill 1272, House Bill 1275, House Bill 179 in the Appropriations Report, Senate Bill 179 in the Appropriations Report, and Senate Bill 183 in the Appropriations Report.
Is there any discussion on the committee reports? The motion for the body is the adoption of all the committee reports on the special orders, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the special orders, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Thank you. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
April 12, 2024, Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 179 is amended. Senate Bill 183 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1305, House Bill 1285, House Bill 1254, House Bill 1354 is amended, House Bill 1002 is amended, House Bill 1234 is amended, House Bill 1272, House Bill 1275, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 3 excused, Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 179 is amended. Senate Bill 183 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bills 1305, 1285, 1254, 1354 is amended, 1002 is amended, 1234 is amended, 1272, 1275 passed on second reading, ordered revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Members, we are going to be pulling up another special orders calendar, so we are just going to take a brief recess to prepare the desk and get ready for that. The Senate will stand in a brief recess. The Senate will come back to order. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate take up House Bill 1318 and Senate Bill 173 on special orders at the hour of 10:10.
Motion is that the Senate take up House Bill 1318 and Senate Bill 173 on special orders at the hour of 10:10. This does require a two-thirds vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will now take up House Bill 1318 and Senate Bill 173 on special orders at the hour of 10:10 a.m. Special orders, second reading of bills. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of special orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the special orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Marchman will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of HB 24-1318?
House Bill 1318 by Representative Ortiz and Senator Danielson concerning reasonable modifications to rental premises for an individual with disability.
Senator Danielson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1318.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, colleagues, for your time and attention today. I appreciate it. It's been a real pleasure to work with Disability Law Colorado, the Cross Disability Coalition, the Independent Living Centers across the state, and the Arc of Colorado, and other disability rights advocacy organizations on this bill. The problem that we're looking to solve here is that there's far too few options for renters, period. But renters who need accessible units, it's even worse. So to give you a little context, only about 1% of housing in Colorado is fully accessible, yet 15% of people in Colorado live with a disability. There's just not enough housing to meet the needs of these consumers. So we heard in committee about some of the modifications that need to be made to rental units in order for a person with a disability to be able to live there. Simple changes like smoke alarms with sound as well as a light switches that are lowered, grab bars by the toilet or the shower, widened doors, things like this. And so, currently, basically what the law does is it repeals the landlord's authority to condition the permission of these modifications on the restoration of the premise at the cost of the renter. So the leaders from the disability rights community and my co-sponsor in the House, Representative Ortiz, just made it really clear that this is a form of discrimination against people with disability. It makes housing less accessible to people who need these modifications, and this is a really small, simple step forward to increase accessible and affordable housing for people with disabilities. And I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Rich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did hear this bill in local government, and while I appreciate the intent, certainly, it does raise significant concerns regarding potential damage of rental property that will end up burdening landlords one more time with additional costs of returning their property to the condition before a tenant modified the premises to accommodate for a disability. Landlords will no longer be able to compromise with tenants prior to a disability modification, since the bill will prohibit and define the action as a discriminatory housing practice. According to Colorado statute, normal wear and tear refers to the degradation that occurs as a result of the use for which the rental unit was intended, without negligence, carelessness, accident, or abuse by the tenant or members of his household or their invitees or guests of the premises or equipment or chattel. removing the language of wear and tear accepted, and that is at the bottom of page 2, from statute places landlords in a difficult situation since the provision protected tenants from being held to a rental's property's perceived perfection upon moving out. Landlords may have a difficult time maintaining their property standards, and I believe that while it's well-intentioned, there will be less options for those that are disabled to rent. So I'm asking for a no vote.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do like this bill, and I've run many bills in regards to the disabled and people with disabilities. But I think there's one part of this bill that was crossed out on page 2 on line 8 at the expense of an individual with a disability, a refusal to permit. It's hard for me to imagine that if you rent a place and you have a disability and you have to modify things, when your lease is up, that you should be able to return it to the landlord in the shape that it was in prior. And it shouldn't be the landlord, and this is what I'm trying to understand in this bill, it shouldn't be the landlord that has to pay for making that apartment whole again. Couple of things come to mind. When I first arrived in Colorado, I had been hit by a car riding my bicycle, and I had both legs broken and my shoulder broken, and I ended up being in a wheelchair for 3 months. Well, we built a ramp with friends and graduate students and folks that were willing to help. And I also had to lower all of the shelves, and I had great friends who were able to do that. However, when I did move out of that duplex that I was renting, I brought it back to the original way that it was there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in this bill, it seems like the person with a disability could move out and not have to fix the modifications that they did. So it's just doesn't seem like this is fair. There's a lot of nonprofits that help people with disabilities move into a place, and I'm wondering if they also help them move out of a place and make it whole again. But to me, this is decreasing accessibility for the disabilities community, because if a landlord chooses between somebody who's in a wheelchair, for example, versus one that's not, that doesn't have a disability, then this may cause people with disabilities not to have affordable housing. The one thing I would love to see in this is that the onus is on the person with the disability when they move out to make that rental whole again. An example that was told to me was from someone that I got an email from was, let's say that you're in a wheelchair and the carpet in the house that came with the rental, you couldn't move around, and I get that. You know, you can't move around on a carpet very well in a wheelchair, so you tear out the carpet because you have that disability and it's easy to get around. So shouldn't it be the responsibility of the person who's renting to be able to put the carpet back in? Because if the landlord has to do it, carpeting an apartment is, I don't know, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. So I just would like to see some clarification here. Am I reading this wrong? because it seems like it's discriminatory towards the person who's renting the place, and it could be discriminatory in regards to if a landlord would rent it to someone who doesn't have a disability versus someone who does.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd like to respond to the questions and comments from the good senator from Fort Collins. I heard this bill as a member of the Local Government and Housing Committee and heard some incredibly compelling testimony about the tenet of universal design. As we want seniors to be able to age in place, and as we want individuals with disabilities to not have to face discrimination, because if a decision is being made to actively pursue a tenant without a disability instead of being willing to accommodate a person with a disability, that would be called discrimination. And for that reason, that tenet of universal design being actually a benefit that we should encourage and recognize as a matter of public policy for seniors to be, for individuals to, if they're lucky enough to purchase a home, if they're lucky enough to find stability in a rental unit, that being able to add something like a grab bar is helpful for any and everyone, does not detract or in any way lower the value of a home. In fact, increasing accessibility increases the potential utilization and desirability. And that's why I think this straightforward and common sense policy is so widely supported. We heard no opposition to the policy and respectfully request an aye vote. I hope that that is clarifying information for the good senator's benefit. Thank you.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for that explanation. Talking about grab bars and things like that, I think that's necessary. I mean, most homes that don't have people with disabilities residing there usually have those. But what I'm alluding to is taking out the carpet, or in my case was bringing down all the shelving so that if you're in a chair, you're not able to reach them if they're in their normal position. So would that be made whole when that person moved out of the rental property? Because that would take some money to be able to make whole again.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is where I will point to the language of the bill, right? Because if you look at 2434-502.2 sub 2A, beginning at page 2, line 8 of the re-engrossed bill, a refusal to permit reasonable modifications of existing premises occupied or to be occupied by an individual with a disability if the modifications are necessary to afford the individual with full enjoyment of the premises. That is the relevant language. What we are striking is the section that says, except that in the case of a rental, the landlord may, where it is reasonable to do so, condition permission for modification on the renter agreeing to restore the interior of the premises to the condition that it existed before the modification, reasonable wear and tear accepted. And striking that language is critical, because what it actually does is it incentivizes, sort of counterintuitively, incentivizes that level of discrimination. It says, well, if you're an older person, if you're a person with disabilities, if you're a person, you've got to pay to, at the end of the day, remove things that make a unit, make a home more accessible. And we ought to just strike that as a matter of public policy. I hope that that's clarifying.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of HB 20. Oh, Senator Danielson. No problem.
I just wanted to just add briefly, when we were in committee, we heard from we heard from folks who provide services for people with disabilities in order to move them in and move them out and make modifications to these units. The Cross Disability Coalition said that unfortunately the majority of their resources go to this removal of modifications so that a tenant can get their deposit back in order to go to their next unit. And we would so much rather have them using their very precious resources to make more units accessible. And then we heard from folks up in Greeley who said, when we meet with the owners of these apartments and they see the kind of changes that we need made for people with disabilities, a light goes on and the owners and property managers say, I'm taking this to make it consistent across all of my units because I see the profitability in these accommodations. So the inverse of what the fear was expressed earlier, and I do appreciate my colleagues' work on this, was demonstrated in committee, that this will increase the number of accessible units available to people with disabilities, older people as we age in place, et cetera. But it also increases the marketability and the profitability of the property managers and the owners of these apartments and these units. It was demonstrated to us that it was a win-win-win for the tenant, the owners, and the community. And so for that, again, I ask for an aye vote, and thank you for your time.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of HB 1318. All those in favor say aye. And opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to SB 173?
Senate Bill 173 by Senators Roberts and Gardner and Representative Soper and Tatone concerning the regulation of persons providing mortuary science services.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 173. And the committee reports business, labor, technology, finance, and appropriations.
Great. To the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee, we made a number of amendments. Most of them were technical changes from the drafter and from the department. We also made some reductions in the hours of the required for a provisional license and some definition changes within the bill.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the Business, Labor, and Technology Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the Finance Committee report. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the Finance Committee, we continued made amendments as the result of further stakeholding with the department and the industry. We added in a little bit of flexibility for existing employees and made clarifications on positions within the industry that don't involve the need for licensure.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Finance Committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Appropriations Committee just appropriated the necessary funding for operation of this program, and we ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion's the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Appropriations Committee report is adopted. There is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read the title, please read L010.
L010.
Senator
Amendment
Roberts.
Finance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L010.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment is some further clarification and results of stakeholding with the industry and the department. The first part adds in a 3-year expiration of the provisional license, and then the second part allows folks to apply for a waiver from the educational requirements that would be instituted under the legislation, and ask the department to take those on a case-by-case basis.
Is there any further discussion? The motion is the adoption of Amendment L10. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that amendment is adopted. To the bill. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, this is a difficult bill. What you have in front of you is a sunrise bill. We do a lot of sunsets, but we don't do a lot of sunrises. But we are bringing forward Senate Bill 173 to create licensure of individuals who work in the funeral industry. Funeral directors, mortuary scientists, cremationists, embalmers, and others who deal with very sensitive and serious situations that happen every day across the state and happen to every family in our state. Unfortunately, Colorado has become a place where tragedy has occurred at way too many funeral homes in our state. People who have had their loved ones completely disrespected, remains who have been misidentified, mistreated, left to waste in all parts of the state. And the shocking thing is that Colorado is the only state in the country that does not license the people who work in funeral homes. We used to license them back in 1983. The licensure program expired. We believe through a sunset bill that did not pass. But because of the tragedies that we've seen across the state, we need to step in here. We need to prevent this from happening again. You've heard of cases in Penrose at the Return to Nature Funeral Home last year. You've heard about Sunset Mesa selling body parts over in Montrose. In my district, in Silverthorne and Gypsum, funeral homes being left to complete disrepair and cremations being totally misidentified. It's sickening to think about. This bill is the result of many years of conversations with the funeral industry who have come to us. Funeral directors, including the Colorado Funeral Directors Association, came to the legislature and said, "We want to be licensed. Please license us." The people who are committing these terrible tragedies are giving our industry a bad name. They want licensure. And so the Department of Regulatory Affairs and the leadership in their office have been working over the last year to conduct a sunrise review. And in December, they came back and said, yes, we recommend licensure of the funeral industry and the people who work in those businesses. And so what you have before you is that proposal. And there's been a lot of hard work, and I do want to thank Dora for their attention and their seriousness in focusing us on this bill and making this a priority for their department. We have their full support. We have the full support of the Colorado Funeral Directors Association. And with amendments that we've adopted over the course of the several committees we've been to, most of the industry is either neutral or supportive of this bill. But this is really about the families. And if you were on the Business and Labor Technology Committee, you heard a lot of really tough stories about why this is so important. And while we cannot do anything to help those families prevent the tragedy that they went through, we can make sure that we don't have this happen to anybody else again in Colorado, or that we can at least prevent it from getting out of control. And that's what's happened here in our state. So the bill is a long bill because it creates a new licensing program. It does account for those who are already working in the industry. We obviously need funeral directors, we need funeral homes and people who do this important work every day in our state, and we want to make sure those who are doing it well can continue to do it. So there's a provisional license in place while we phase in the permanent license program. But we will bring Colorado into the national norm, literally joining all 49 other states that do this if we pass this bill, and I would really appreciate your support and ask for an aye vote.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I want to thank my co-prime sponsor, the good senator from Frisco, who's done most of the heavy lifting on the bill. It is not easy to sunrise a program, a regulatory program. For me, and I hope for my colleagues in my own caucus, this will be a bill that proves the rule, which is that while we are opposed to excessive regulation, we are very supportive of regulatory programs that properly protect our citizens, consumers, the people of Colorado. You have all read the horrendous stories over the past few years that have arisen because there's been no regulation in Colorado of the mortuary business. But in bringing a program into being, you have all of these existing folks who have been operating and operating very responsibly. I think this industry would tell you, and many of them who are your constituents probably have, that they are as horrified as the rest of us about the negligence, the disregard, the abuse that has arisen due to a lack of regulation. We as a state became kind of the place where if you lost your license elsewhere or couldn't get a license elsewhere or didn't want to get the proper training, come to Colorado. This bill will put an end to that. It creates, again, a reasonable program of oversight and regulation, and I ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
I don't think my thing's working.
Thank
Senator
you, Madam
Sullivan.
Chair. I was in the Business and Labor Committee and heard this bill, and you're right. We heard some incredible stories from people that were impacted and are impacted by death. We need to remember this isn't about the business of death. We also have to remember the impact of death. And I appreciate everything that they've done, and as we heard, how this was all of a sudden in 83, all of a sudden we don't have a department anymore to look this all over, and it was hard to get an answer as to why we didn't do something earlier and how things didn't move forward. And again, these people who were victimized by this, you know, they don't care about departments and the revenue base. We had a gentleman who came and testified and kind of proudly let us all know that he has his hand on nearly 70% of all of the deaths that go on in the state of Colorado because of his organization, because of his business. They handle more than 70% of all mortuary services that are provided. And I heard some of that we're talking about the business of death and how, and I appreciate that the Department of Revenue is going to do a better job on this, but I certainly, want to acknowledge all of the people that were impacted by this, and actually we can do better. We can do something so that this never happens again. And, this is the first step towards it. And I would hope that we would be more vigilant on this type of activity than we had been in the past, so we don't have the list of people who came and and talked to us and told us their horrifying stories and still are reliving deaths from years ago. So I support it, but I would hope that we would all keep an eye on this industry and make sure that this never happens in Colorado again. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of SB 173. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion for the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
April 12, 2024. Mr. President, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it as had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 173 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1318 passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 173 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1318 passed on second reading, and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that General Order's second reading of bills calendar lay over until Monday, April the 15th.
Motion is to lay over the balance of the general order second reading of bills calendar until Monday, April 15th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. The ayes have it. The balance of the general order second reading of bills calendar will lay over until Monday, April 15th. Governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Metropolitan Major League Baseball Stadium District Board of Directors, for terms expiring August 1, 2027, Ramona Martinez of Denver, Colorado, reappointed. Andrew Feinstein of Denver, Colorado, reappointed. Eric Haraga of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Members of the Uninsured Employer Board, effective September 2nd, 2023, for terms expiring September 1st, 2026, Shelley Phelps Dodge of Fort Lupton, Colorado, to represent attorneys representing injured workers, reappointed. Lindsay Erskine of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, to represent insurers, appointed. Member of the Colorado Racing Commission for term expiring July 1, 2026, Jeffrey Rubel of Westminster, Colorado, and unaffiliated from the 8th Congressional District, to serve as a registered elector, occasioned by the resignation of Sandra Bowen of Idledale, Colorado, appointed.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the passage of all the appointments and the consideration of Governor's appointment consent calendar, which include Ramona Martinez of Denver, Andrew Feinstein of Denver, Eric Haraga of Denver for the Metropolitan Major League Baseball Stadium District Board of Directors, Shelley Phelps Dodge of Fort Lupton, Lindsay Erskine of Highlands Ranch for the Uninsured Employer Board, and Jeffrey Rubel of Westminster for the Colorado Racing Commission.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Signing of bills.
April 12, 2024, the President has signed Senate Bills 23, 24, 87, 128, 132, 134, and 178. April 11, 2024, the President has signed House Bills 1003, 1058, 1071, 1081, 1087, 1118, 1150, 1257, 1267, 1385, 1386, 1387, 1388, 1389, 1391, 1393, 1394, 1395, 1396, 1397, 1398, 1399, 1400, 1401, 1402, 1404, 1405, 1406, 1407, 1411, 1412, 1414, 1415, 1418, 1419, 1420, 1424, 1427, 1428, and House Concurrent Resolution 1002.
Message from the governor.
Thursday, April 11, 2024. Honorable members of the Colorado Senate, pursuant to the authority vested in the office of the Governor of the State of Colorado, I have the honor to inform you that I have approved and filed with the Secretary of State the following act. Senate Bill 21, exempt small communities from HOA requirements, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024, 1:15 p.m.
Announcements. Committee reports.
Senate Bill 35, strengthening enforcement of human trafficking, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024 at 1:15 p.m. Senate Bill 56, out-of-state automobile permit and search rescue fee, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024 at 1:15 p.m. Senate Bill 99, Public Employees Retirement Association Employment After Retirement for Rural Schools, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024 at 1:15 p.m. Senate Bill 138, modification of county elected officer salary categories, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024 at 1:15 p.m. Senate Bill 148, precipitation harvesting stormwater detention, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024 at 1:15 p.m. Senate Bill 155, payment of family medical leave benefits, approved on Thursday, April 11, 2024 at 1:15 p.m.
Committee reports.
April 11, 2024, Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 199 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. Senate Bill 127 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation. The Committee on has had under consideration, has had a hearing on the following appointments, and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Colorado Wildlife Habitat SAM Committee for a term expiring on December 31st, 2026. Ivan James II of Colorado Springs, Colorado, is a sports person to serve as a representative of the Southeast region, occasioned by the resignation of John Stark of Colorado Springs, Colorado, appointed for terms expiring December 31st, 2027. Julia Kinch of Golden, Colorado, to serve as a public member, appointed. Liz Rose of Denver, Colorado, sports person to serve as a representative of the Northeast region, reappointed. Jonathan Proctor of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a representative of a nationally recognized conservation organization whose mission is focused on non-game wildlife and whose membership is composed primarily of non-game wildlife users, appointed. Liza Graham Rossi of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the Division of Parks and Wildlife and ex officio member, appointed. Members of the Groundwater Commission, effective May 2nd, 2024, for terms expiring May 1, 2028. James M. Noble of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a representative of municipal or industrial users, reappointed. Timothy Potler of Stratton, Colorado, a resident of agriculturist from the Northern High Plains Basin, reappointed. David Payne of Fruita, Colorado, to serve as a representative of Western Slope municipal or industrial users, appointed.
Members, Senator Rod Pelton has a birthday coming up. In fact, it's tomorrow. So I was thinking we come back to work tomorrow, we get some bills done, and we celebrate with him. Everybody in? All right, then instead of doing that, how about the Senate choir please assemble for the birthday boy?
Where's your hat?
You need to have a hat.
And a blower, and a blower.
Okay.
Oh!
All right. Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Senator Pelton. Happy birthday to you.
May the dear Lord bless you, shower graces on you. May the dear Lord bless you, Rodney George Pelton. May the dear Lord bless you.
Look, it's small.
Announcements. Mr. Majority Leader. Oh, Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. One announcement to share for those of you that are interested in property taxes. We will be having the next installment of the Property Tax Commission today at 1 o'clock. Excited to get everybody back together. We're going to be evaluating the ballot initiatives that have been through the title board. Would love to have you join us for the Property Tax Commission, 1 o'clock in the Old Supreme Court.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adjourn until 10 a.m. Monday, April 15th, 2024.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. All the ayes have it, and the Senate will adjourn. Until 10 a.m. on Monday, April 15th, 2024.
Yeah, recess.